listening to the Wrestle Havoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the Wrestle Havoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky DeReyes, right here on the Wrestle Havoc Podcast, here to review AEW Dynamite from March 1st, 2023. We've got a lot of things to talk about right here on the show. It is absolutely insane that we are already in the month of March. Literally, 2023 is flying by absolutely fast. It's crazy to think, in my opinion. But overall thoughts on Dynamite, of course, it is the go-home Dynamite before the Revolution pay-per-view, which will be taking place in San Francisco at the Chase Center this Sunday live on pay-per-view. And the card is actually looking very, very, very good. But overall, was this the best go-home show that AEW has conducted, in my opinion? The answer is no. Not the best go-home show. There were some things on this show that I really, really liked. First off, that Face of the Revolution ladder match was in-fucking-sane. Number one, Hobbs was over in his hometown. But number two, Komander is one fucking insane individual. Another thing, the Bryan Danielson closing segment, basically annihilating MJF on the microphone, was amazing. I'm very excited for their 60-minute Iron Man match. We had those pre-taped vignettes of both Jon Moxley and Hangman Page, of course, ahead from their Texas Death Match at Revolution as well. Very good vignettes as well that both conducted, and very good promos that both conducted as well. We had Orange Cassidy versus Big Bill for the All-Atlantic Championship. We had the Casino Battle Royale, which I wasn't really that big of a fan of, in my opinion. I wasn't really that invested in the match. There were pretty good moments in the match, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was not really feeling it. But Christian Cage as well. Christian Cage, of course, also cut a promo. And Christian Cage is an absolute savage on the microphone, as he always is, because he is a damn good heel. But aside from a lot of those other things, Dynamite was a fine show. Not the best Dynamite AEW has produced, but it was definitely a Dynamite looking forward to. We had matches like Chris Jericho versus Peter Avalon, which I wasn't really invested in. We had Toni Storm versus Riho, a pretty good match overall, but you know, even though I am excited for the three-way at Revolution, I'm not really feeling it right now when it comes to Saraya and Toni Storm, to be quite honest with you guys. I feel like they're not, I don't want to say they're not treated important, but I just am not really feeling the whole importance of the whole storyline that they are progressing. And I feel like right now it's the kind of down period when it comes to the storyline. I definitely think that the women's storyline will be elevated more after Revolution. I think there's going to be more layers to the story. But overall, right now, I'm not really that into Saraya and Toni Storm. And a lot of that, to be honest, has to do with the spray paint. Please stop with the spray paint. It's absolutely cringe television. But before I get on with all this craziness regarding AEW Dynamite, make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestle Havoc Podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the frickin' referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the Wrestle Havoc Podcast is also available on audio platforms. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen to the Wrestle Havoc Podcast in audio format, it is available on all of those platforms. Also, if you guys haven't checked out the Raw review, of course, I talked about the very, very boring, and I mean boring, episode of Raw this week. Of course, it's official. We now have Omos versus Brock Lesnar happening at WrestleMania. I guess who booked that match? I guarantee you it was Vince McMahon. But overall, I thought Raw was a pretty crappy show in my opinion. And it's really, really much have to do with those 3 hours. It was a very boring show. But if you guys haven't checked out my Raw review, the link will be in the description below. Also, quick reminder that Ring of Honor returns tonight, or it's already returned. It's actually already aired on Honor Club, and I still have to watch it. But overall, I heard a lot of great reviews regarding Ring of Honor. Of course, the Ring of Honor reviews will be starting this coming Friday, that being today or tomorrow, whenever this video is uploaded. And be assured to be on this podcast to watch my Ring of Honor reviews. And I'll be talking about all the things going on in the realm of ROH as we head towards Supercard of Honor. So be on the lookout for the Ring of Honor reviews beginning this Friday, that being either tomorrow or today, right here on the Wrestle Havoc podcast. All right, let's get on with AEW Dynamite. As I stated before, was it the best go-home show that AEW has conducted? No. Am I excited for Revolution? Yes. Has the build been pretty, I don't want to say stagnant, but has the build been pretty, fantastic? No, the build hasn't really been great. A lot of people are talking about how AEW does not have stories. I'm going to clear the air with that. AEW clearly has good stories happening. Are they having stories that are as efficient as the Sami Zayn and Bloodline storyline? No. But they do have stories going on. But really, I'm going to be honest, besides Bryan Danielson and MJF and Jon Moxley and Hangman Page, there's nothing really that much special, in my eyes at least, but I'm still much looking forward to AEW's Revolution pay-per-view. But let's get on with Dynamite. In our first match of the evening, Orange Cassidy defends his AEW All-Atlantic Championship against W. Morrissey, a.k.a. Big Bill. I'm not really the biggest fan of the name of Big Bill, but it is what it is. It's going to grow on me, and it's starting to grow on me, the name of Big Bill. Of course, he was originally Big Cass in the WWE. Then he was W. Morrissey when he was in Impact, and then when he came to AEW, he was also W. Morrissey, but then they changed his name to Big Bill. But it's going to be, I'm starting to get used to the name of Big Bill. But overall thoughts on this match, this was a pretty good opening match, to be quite honest with you. It was a fine match. I enjoyed the match. Big Bill looked absolutely great. It was pretty entertaining to see what Orange Cassidy actually did in this match as well. But overall, it was pretty much expected that Orange Cassidy was going to be retaining the All-Atlantic Championship, and he did, by the way. But let's get on through with the match. So in the beginning stages of the match, Cassidy tries to taunt Big Bill, but then Big Bill walks towards Cassidy, but then Cassidy retreats to the outside, the first of many times that Orange Cassidy retreats to the outside. Big Bill leaves the ring, but then Cassidy enters the ring. Bill goes to the ring. Cassidy leaves the ring once again, but then Cassidy rolls himself back in the ring, which is hilarious. Then he immediately gets out. Cassidy stares at Stokely Hathaway, of course, Stokely Hathaway being from The Firm. Cassidy then takes away his glasses. He puts those glasses onto himself, but what happens? He tries to put his hands in his pockets, but what happens? Big Bill is behind him, and Stokely takes away those glasses. He tries to hit a right hand, but Cassidy escapes and almost hits Stokely Hathaway. At this point, Cassidy is in the ring. He hits the sunset flip, but then after that, he picks him up. Cassidy goes to the apron, but he rolls away. Cassidy is looking for the DDT, but then gets caught and hits Cassidy with a side slam. After that, Big Bill goes for a splash into the corner. He sends Cassidy into the corner as well. He sends Cassidy into the other corner. After that, Big Bill hits a boot on Cassidy, taking him to the outside. Big Bill is in control over Orange Cassidy. He works on him on the outside, but then Stokely moves to the timekeeper's table. Both Stokely Hathaway and Big Bill are moving the timekeeper's table in front of the ring where the stage is, or where the ramp is, I should say. And after that, Big Bill tries to chokeslam Orange Cassidy through the table, but then Cassidy fights back with repeated rights. After that, he lands on the steel steps on his feet, but then he continues to land a couple of right hands, but it's no chance because Big Bill ended up catching Orange Cassidy, and Big Bill actually managed to hit the chokeslam on Orange Cassidy through the table. We go to commercial break. Danhausen actually comes to the ring during the commercial break. Once we're back from break, Big Bill is in control over Orange Cassidy. He picks up Cassidy and then he has him up for a long time and hits a delayed vertical suplex. My man Big Bill here is trying to be Bandito. Cassidy goes for repeated rights. After that, Big Bill swings and misses, but then Bill applies the full Nelson. After that, he's basically ragdolling Orange Cassidy at this point. He tries to hit the high boot, but then Cassidy falls down casually. And he does it again because he's Orange Cassidy and he can do whatever the hell he wants because he's hilarious. Cassidy then goes to the outside, but then Big Bill is on the outside. Stokely, at this point, is with Danhausen. Danhausen tries to do the almighty curse, After that, Danhausen tries to curse him, but then Big Bill comes in. Bill then takes Danhausen, and he is about to chokeslam him, but instead Stokely hits Danhausen with the backhand with the cast, and the cast is a very important thing that Stokely Hathaway is using, and they also tried to use the same thing in the Casino Battle Royale later on this show. Cassidy goes for the Tope Suicida, a.k.a. the Suicide Dive, on both Stokely Hathaway and Big Bill. He does it again, but then gets caught by Big Bill because he is a mountain of a man. After that, he tries to chokeslam him, but then Cassidy hits a right hand, and then he hits the orange punch on the leg of Big Bill. He then kicks him on the head, landing on the steel steps, but then Cassidy sets up the orange punch. He then gets caught, but then Cassidy goes for the Stunt Dog Millionaire. After that, he hits the DDT. He then hits the orange punch, but then Big Bill is up on his feet. At this point, he hits a second orange punch, but then Big Bill is still on his feet because he is of course a big man. After that, he goes to the top. He hits a third orange punch. We get a cover, and Orange Cassidy retains the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. Overall thoughts on this match? I very much enjoyed this match for what it was. Big Bill looked absolutely great. Orange Cassidy, of course, is tearing it up right now as the All-Atlantic Champion. But overall, pretty good match overall. We really need to start talking about who should really take that All-Atlantic title from Orange Cassidy, because when did Orange Cassidy win that title? A couple of months ago? What was it? November? October? I completely forgot when he won that title, because I know he won it from Bach. I completely forgot when he won that title, because I know it was in the fall, but he had it for a couple of months now. It seems like ages ago. But we really need to talk about who should take that title away from Orange Cassidy. Of course, right here on the Dynamite show, they also teased Don Callis watching Takeshita during the ladder match. Could that be Takeshita going? Now, I'm not saying it's going to have Takeshita go after the All-Atlantic title. But, of course, Takeshita could be a contender for that. Guys like Roosh could be a contender for that. Very many different possibilities for the All-Atlantic title. As much as I like Orange Cassidy as the All-Atlantic champion, I really want to see somebody else hold that title, in my opinion. Even though I'm digging him as champion right now, honestly, I'd rather have somebody else right now as champion, because I think it's been a while that Orange Cassidy has had that title. It literally feels like ages ago when he won that title. Probably not, but it really does. Moxley, of course, in a pre-taped vignette, basically cuts a promo after his brutal match with Dark Order's Evil Uno. A lot of criticism when it comes to Jon Moxley blading. Look, I like bleeding in wrestling. I honestly really do like, when wrestlers bleed. But I don't know, man, with Jon Moxley, man, this man literally bleeds almost every fucking week. It is absolutely insane. Now, that's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. I can't fault him. I can't really, force him to stop. But dude, man, the blood with Moxley, man, this guy bleeds every week to the point where it's a meme now. Everybody's talking about how, everybody's just making jokes about how Moxley bleeds all the time. It's absolutely hilarious. But he cuts a very good promo. Talks about how he can taste victory. It tastes like life. And that's what he's all about. He's living life to the fullest. He is a sick man. He does this because he likes it. It's not something to be proud of. It's something that he aspires to be, because he lives for this shit. He's not the kind of guy that you want to be in a dark alley with, because there's only one of them coming out of that dark alley. And does Hangman really think that it's going to be him, huh? Do you really think that you're going to be the one coming out of that dark alley? Just remember, he wanted this. He tries to leave it alone. He beat him once and sent him to the hospital, barely breaking a sweat. He ain't got no credit for it. Says that it was an accident. He beat him. He comes back from the worst injury. He beat him again, and he did the same thing he did, and Hangman got all that praise for it. He got flowers and everything, and he got nothing, that being Moxley. He got nothing for it. They told him that it was a fluke, and they said it wasn't real and it didn't count. And that's what he says to. But he got beat by a wrestling move that he learned in 7th grade. After that, this time, he will leave no doubt. Hangman is a great wrestler. Heck, he is a great man. But he is not at the same level as him. And there's only one room for these animals in AEW. One animal like him in this ecosystem, and he will die to protect his ecosystem. See you. Texas Death. Great promo by Jon Moxley. Fantastic stuff right there. You know, if there's one thing you can say about Jon Moxley is clearly, whenever you think AEW, you think of guys like Jon Moxley. Everybody talks about, oh, you think of the Elite. Yeah, you're right. You do think of the Elite. But guys like Jon Moxley, this man literally put the company on his back when they desperately needed him last year. And this man, like, he's not only good in the ring, but he's so good in his promos that his promos are just so fucking believable. And you say that about a lot of guys, especially in AEW, guys like MJF, guys like Eddie Kingston. But I feel like there's something about Jon Moxley that really separates himself from everybody else. And I can even put Eddie Kingston in that conversation as well. I mean, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley are very similar to one another whenever they cut their promos. But Jon Moxley, man, he really made me excited for that Texas Death Match coming up at Revolution, because these guys are going to absolutely kill each other. Trust me, they're going to absolutely kill each other. But overall, great promo by Jon Moxley, and you know for a fact this man is going to bleed at Revolution. We get the Elite, of course, the current AEW Trios champions, coming out. But as soon as they make their entrance to Carry On My Wayward Son, what happens? The lights go out. The lights are out, and the house is behind them, and they beat the living shit out of them while the lights are out. And then after that, the lights go back on, and the House of Black stand tall, holding the AEW Trios titles. One of the things that I really wish that AEW could have done was add more build to this match. I mean, all they were really doing was airing like their short 30-second, less than 30-second video packages. Not only that, they just had the House of Black just like show up apparently doing spooky stuff in, you know, the matches of the Elite. This match needed more build, in my opinion. I don't know how to do how like really they should do it, but like honestly, I genuinely want the House of Black to win those trios titles, because if they lose at Revolution, if you really think about it, if the House of Black loses at Revolution, what is there for the House of Black to do? What are they going to go back to square one? Because clearly the House of Black really did not have a lot of focus last year, and that was a major issue regarding the House of Black. I don't want it to be the same situation. I want the House of Black to beat the Elite. I know the Elite just won those trios titles, but let's be honest with ourselves. If there's anybody that need those trios titles, it's the House of Black, period. We got the face of the Revolution ladder match. Yes, AEW usually does the face of the Revolution ladder match at the Revolution pay-per-view, but instead they did it on Dynamite, probably because of the fact that the main event is going to be under an hour-long match, so I totally understand why they did it on Dynamite. But what are my thoughts on this match overall? This ladder match was fucking insane. Like, what you would see on a ladder match on pay-per-view, that was exactly what you got in this match. We had guys like Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, Konosuke Takeshita, Powerhouse Hobbs, who's a notable name in this match because, number one, I believe this is his hometown, and he was super over in San Francisco because AEW was at the Cow Palace. Guys like AR Fox, who I believe did wrestle Claudio Castagnoli for the ROH title at the first ROH TV tapings. Sammy Guevara, Komander from AAA. I'm not really that familiar with him, but the shit that he pulled in this match, holy shit, this man is insane. And yeah, those were all the guys that were a part of that Face of the Revolution ladder match. You had many different stories that were playing out all at once. It's kind of similar to like what WWE does with the Royal Rumble. Whenever you had like many different wrestlers from various different feuds, you would have those wrestlers feud with the particular guy that they were feuding in that particular match. This was something similar to that, and I very much enjoyed it. For example, in the beginning stages of the ladder match that they had here on Dynamite, you had guys like Ortiz and Eddie Kingston literally fighting out. Though they have been on somewhat, I don't want to say of a feud, but they have been in some sort of conflicts going on these past couple of weeks on Rampage, and that was very much well enough to do with the House of Black. So basically, Ortiz and Eddie Kingston were basically beating the shit out of each other in the beginning stages of the match. And Eddie Kingston is actually a very notable name that I will be talking about after I go through this ladder match. But basically, let's go through the match. Ortiz fights off Kingston. Action Andretti goes for the suicide dive on AR Fox. Eddie Kingston drops a ladder on Ortiz because he's Eddie Kingston. AR Fox goes for the corkscrew brainbuster after that. Eddie Kingston and Ortiz fight it out on the stage. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is that you had people like Action Andretti face off with guys like Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Again, many different stories playing out in this ladder match, which I absolutely really liked. Eddie Kingston and Ortiz fight it out on the stage. Sammy grabs a ladder, but then Andretti hits a dropkick on Sammy Guevara. Komander goes for a dropkick on Andretti onto the ladder. And then Hobbs comes in. Hobbs is super over, as I stated earlier. He sends Komander to the corner ladder. He continues to work on Action Andretti, and then he throws AR Fox onto the ladder. He proceeds to pick up Andretti, but then Hobbs takes out Andretti. He manages to pick up Andretti, but then he sends him into the corner ladder. After that, Sammy Guevara comes in. He has a scared look on his face because he saw Hobbs basically taking out everybody in the match, and he was like, nope, fuck no, fuck this shit, I'm out. But then what happens? Konosuke Takeshita comes in, the Japanese phenomenon, the sensation. Konosuke Takeshita. He comes in. Both Takeshita and Hobbs fight it out and exchange shots. After that, Hobbs goes for a shot onto the jaw of Takeshita. Both clothesline each other. Both are still up on their feet. Hobbs lands onto the ladder. Takeshita goes for a German suplex. At this point, they show Don Callis watching Konosuke Takeshita backstage. Very interesting stuff right there. I love how they're teasing a possible, joining of both Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita. Very interesting stuff that I'm very much paying attention to. So after that, Sammy Guevara goes for a knee on Takeshita, but then Action Andretti comes in. Andretti then takes out Sammy onto the outside, but then AR Fox goes for a springboard senton on the outside. After this, Komander, who was basically the MVP of this whole fucking match, this man walked the fucking rope so clean and hit a springboard, taking everybody out to the outside. I was, like, blown away. Like, this guy's... I'm not really that familiar with Komander, but Jesus Christ. This man is amazing. And everybody talks a lot about different luchadors. Bro, this man is out of this world. Fantastic stuff right there. Komander then climbs the ladder, but then Takeshita goes for the right hand. Hobbs then takes out Takeshita, but then Hobbs picks up Komander. But then AR Fox hits Hobbs with the chair, but then Hobbs picks up AR Fox. He drives him onto the ladder onto the outside. Then Takeshita and Hobbs both collide with a double clothesline on the outside. Sammy then climbs the ladder, but then Action Andretti climbs the ladder. Then both of them fight it out. Andretti picks up Sammy and hits the Falcon Arrow. Sammy then lands onto the back of the head of the ladder. Komander is on the top and hits a clean, and I mean a clean, shooting star press. That was probably the cleanest shooting star press that I have ever seen in my fucking life, and I'm not even joking. Komander then walks the ladder up in the ring onto the other ladder because there's, I believe, in the ring, there's basically one ladder set up right here, and the other ladder is basically stood up so you can, grab the ring. So after that, Takeshita comes in. Takeshita picks up Komander and hits the one and only Blue Thunder Bomb. Sami Zayn is proud. Komander then walks the ladder up in the ring onto the other ladder. Oh, no, my bad. Takeshita then climbs the ladder, and then Andretti goes for the springboard onto the ladder. Both then fight it out after that. But then what happens? Daniel Garcia. Yes, Daniel Garcia comes in, and he pushes both out. And then he drives Andretti to the mat, but then Garcia leaves the ring. Both Sammy and Garcia set up the ladder on both of the chairs. Both take Andretti to the ring. Sammy climbs the ladder. This man hit a senton on Andretti. After that, Garcia comes in. He drags Sammy into the ring. After that, he sets up a ladder, and then Sammy then tries to climb the ladder, but then Takeshita comes in, pushes both of them off. He sends Garcia to the outside. Takeshita then goes for a knee on Sammy Guevara. After that, he climbs the ladder, but then Hobbs comes in, and then he takes out Takeshita. The referees come in, and basically what happens is Hobbs gets the ring. He climbs the ladder, grabs the ring. Hobbs is the face of the Revolution, and he will basically he's granted a TNT title shot against Samoa Joe, I believe, next Wednesday on Dynamite, which is, of course, the fallout from AEW Revolution. Oh, and by the way, Samoa Joe was on commentary. I completely forgot to mention that. Samoa Joe is literally a gem on commentary. Like, this guy is amazing. I remember when he was doing commentary for Raw back in 2020. At its worst state, one of the highlights of Raw, even when the show was like complete dog shit, Samoa Joe was one of those highlights. Samoa Joe is absolutely fantastic on commentary, and he really showed that during this match. All right. Overall, this was a fucking crazy ass match. I absolutely loved this match. Again, I understand, I would have much rather had this match be on the pay-per-view, but again, I totally understand why they put this match here. the reason why they put the match on here is most likely because of the fact that the main event is going to be under an hour long. It's literally guaranteed to be an hour. So it made total sense why they put it here. But overall, fantastic stuff. I absolutely loved the match. Komander is one insane individual. Like, I've seen clips of him, on GCW clips. I don't really follow GCW a lot. I go to their shows whenever I want. Like, I tend to go to their shows, like, just, for fun. Like, if for me, I'm basically a casual GCW fan. I believe he did wrestle for GCW, and I saw a couple of clips that he made. Like, this guy is fucking insane. But Komander is one insane individual, and that spot where he walked to the ropes and literally hit that fucking senton off the top, my favorite moment in the whole match. Amazing stuff right there. Komander is one insane individual. A lot of other stuff happening in the match. Hobbs was super over. Like, Hobbs was insanely over. I believe this was his hometown of San Francisco, California. And, of course, he does deserve this shot at the TNT Championship against Samoa Joe. And it's going to be a freaking insane match happening. But let's talk about what happened after the match. So Hobbs comes in. Of course, Samoa Joe stands up. And what happens is Wardlow comes in, but then security come in because, of course, Wardlow and Samoa Joe are going to be wrestling for the TNT Championship at Revolution this Sunday. And then Wardlow takes out security, but then Hobbs sits down and says, I got time. And basically everybody just stands tall, and that was that. So we are going to be getting Samoa Joe versus Wardlow at Revolution, and we're going to be having Hobbs versus either Samoa Joe or Wardlow. Whoever wins the match on Sunday will be facing Powerhouse Hobbs at the Revolution pay-per-view. Renee Paquette backstage with the best friends. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy will be in the Casino Battle Royale. We got Chris Jericho versus Peter Avalon. Yes, Peter Avalon, the former librarian. Y'all remember the librarian? I know I keep on mentioning that, but y'all remember the librarians? It was a running joke on BTE when AEW first started. It was a relatively short match. Of course, the main story as to why this match was happening is because of the fact that, of course, last week, Ricky Starks cut a promo and talks about how he had a open contract. And basically, Chris Jericho came out. He was on the stage, and Peter Avalon came out. It looked like he wanted to sign the contract, but then Chris Jericho laid him out. So that's why we have this match over here. What was really the whole point of this match? I'm not really sure. I feel like Peter Avalon is just a comedy act. I think he's great. I mean, he did have some offense in this match, but let's be real. Is he an important part of the show? Also, is he an important part of this feud? The answer is simple. No, he's not. So I don't really know why we have this match here. But Peter Avalon did get a little bit of offense in this match, which was great to see in my opinion. It was not just your generic squash match. If this was WWE, they'd just like squash the shit out of Peter Avalon and that's it. But at least they gave Peter Avalon some sort of offense. Peter Avalon goes immediately after Chris Jericho. We get a couple of chops and shots by Jericho. Jericho retreats to the outside. We get a suicide dive by Peter Avalon, followed by a chop. After that, he sends Jericho to the steel steps. Once we're back in the ring, we get a couple of chops by Peter Avalon. Avalon then goes for the pump kick after that. We get a cover and a near fall. Avalon then drives Jericho into the corner, and then he takes Avalon into the ring. We get a springboard crossbody, and then we get a cover and a near fall. After that, off the second rope, he hits a swinging DDT. So, again, the offense that Peter Avalon got in this match was in-fucking-sane. We get a cover and a near fall after that DDT. Jericho hits the code breaker. We get a cover, and Jericho immediately gets the win off of one spot. Even though Peter Avalon had the majority of the offense, one code breaker, and Jericho got the win. You love to see it. After that, what happens is Jericho grabs the bat. He grabs Floyd and basically beats the crap out of Peter Avalon with the bat, hitting him repeatedly with it. But then Ricky Starks comes out, his opponent at Revolution, and Jericho retreats to the outside. And he says, on Sunday, on this crappy town, he will beat the hell out of him one-on-one. Because the JAS is not allowed at the pay-per-view doesn't mean they aren't allowed tonight. And then the JAS comes in, and then they basically attack Starks. Hager then drops him down. Garcia then grabs a piece of Starks as well. And then they hold on Starks, and then he takes Starks, and they send him. And Jericho hits the Judas effect, and the Jericho Appreciation Society stand tall. Am I interested in this match that's going to be taking place at Revolution regarding Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho? I'm going to be honest with you guys, not really, because of the fact that if you really think about it, the story of it kind of doesn't make sense because of the fact that you had Ricky Starks literally beat Jericho, and then all of a sudden he wants a rematch with the guy that he already beat. If this was real, that would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. I would have had Jericho win that first match, and then you could do the rematch, but they didn't do that. They basically did everything ass backwards. But overall, this was it was a quick match. I mean, Peter Avalon, as I stated earlier, did get a lot of offense, but of course Jericho was going to win. And of course, this is to build up for their match at Revolution. We get Hangman Page in a pre-taped promo, and he cuts a very good promo, just like Jon Moxley. Of course, this is ahead of their Texas Death Match that they're going to be having at Revolution this Sunday. Hangman Page states, and I quote, "This Sunday, the finale, Hangman, Mox, Texas Death." He talked to Dark Order earlier today, and Alex said something that he really didn't think he meant, but he said that if this was the last and in the end of Mox and him, they are just a little bit afraid of losing. Look at him. This is all he has left to lose, that being this match. He had the AEW Championship, and he lost that. He had another shot, and he took that away from him. He can't take away his friends. He beat Uno last week within an inch of his life. He can't take away his memory. It's gone. He ain't got no more. He can't take away his heart because he couldn't care. This Sunday, he takes everything away from him. His spot at the top of the food chain, his pride, because he is the man left standing, and he isn't the same type of animal like him. He hates violence, but this Sunday, he will be the most violent and bloodthirsty son of a bitch has ever seen, not in spite of that, but because of it. Because he knew he has to be that in order to beat Jon Moxley. Beating him is the last glitter of hope he has to know. This is Texas Death, and there are only two ways out. Either you live or die, and he ain't done living. Jon, after Sunday, he is not going to be the same. So that was the promo that Hangman Page cut. Fantastic promo by Hangman Page. You know, I feel like Hangman Page doesn't really get enough credit about the good promos that he cuts because he's a fantastic promo, what he does. But, man, that was a very, very, very good promo. And, again, it gets me even more excited for their Texas Death Match because these guys are going to absolutely kill. Yes, that is the key word, kill each other at Revolution. It's going to be fucking amazing. Renee Paquette interviews the Instant Classic. Oh, wait, never mind. The Savage Classic. Christian Cage. Yes, Christian Cage, the savage that he is on the microphone, is getting interviewed by Renee Paquette. Overall, this was a relatively good promo overall. I was very interested in what they were doing here. But, yeah, man, it was a very good promo. Of course, at the end of the day, or at the end of the segment, I should say, not the end of the day. What the hell am I talking about? We had Jungle Boy basically bury a grave for Christian Cage. And a lot of people were speculating on the internet of what was this going to be. I'll talk about that later on after I get through this promo segment that Christian Cage cut. So Christian Cage cuts a promo, and he says, first things first, he can't wait to not come back to San Francisco for the next 10 years. For the past 6 months, he embarrassed Jungle Boy at will. He was staying with him until he was sitting at home, minding his own business, and he turns on Dynamite, and there is Jack Perry. He says in 2023, he wants to win a singles championship over his dead body because he will win a singles title in 2003, that being Christian Cage himself. He's been watching his matches for the past few months, and he has been winning his matches by either a quick pinfall or an inside cradle, whatever the hell. And if he is okay with winning championships, then that is fine. But does he want to win a championship, or does he want to beat somebody for a championship? Does he want to beat them down, break their will, and take their title? Now, of course, it's rhetorical. Last week, when he jumped him from behind, he was dead to rights with that concerto, and he hesitated. He turned it around and showed how a real man conducts business. When he smashed his head repeatedly onto the chair and left him in a pool of his own blood and piss. He had to add that piss in there. That was hilarious. Now, another thing that has been bothering him is why he wants to win a championship so bad that it hit him. He doesn't have any interest in the legacy or pride of the championship. He just wants to take that shiny new toy and show mommy and show his friends and put it on social media for some likes. His whole generation he treats the business like a video game. He is a dime of a dozen. Nobody can do the things that he can do in this ring. He is one of one. Unlike him, he treats this business like an ATM machine, and he ain't done milking it dry. Those were the words by Christian Cage. And then he continues on. But this needs to end. He has a challenge this Sunday at Revolution. It's not for a wrestling match. It's a fight. The sad reality is, if he chooses to show up, the reality is he's just his father's son. And now he goes personal, as Christian Cage always does. He is just like his father. He is a no-talent hack that should be thankful that he had Hollywood good looks to get through life, because this business ain't for him, kid. He doesn't have the guts, or he doesn't have what it takes. He ain't a closer. He doesn't have grit, and he doesn't have an ounce of what he has inside. And then all of a sudden, what happens after he continues to cut that promo? The lights go out, and then it shows a video of Jungle Boy digging down dirt, and it shows a grave for Christian Cage. And then the lights go back up, and then Christian has a somewhat of a shocked and scared look on his face. So what are my thoughts on this segment? Christian Cage is fucking awesome. If you guys think Christian Cage sucks, I don't know what the hell you're watching. This man is such a savage on the microphone. You love to see it. But another thing, a lot of people were speculating on what this match was going to be, considering the fact that you had Jungle Boy basically dig up a grave for Christian Cage. Now, what this match is going to be, I have absolutely no idea. Now, I believe AEW put on their social media that this match was going to be on a no-holds-barred match, which is very weird because they had basically Jungle Boy dig up the grave for Christian Cage, and I'm actually trying to pull it up right here on my phone. Yep, right here. AEW announced a no-holds-barred match. Everybody thought it was going to be a buried alive match, but that was actually not the case. So we literally got two matches that are going to be off the freaking chain, but not only that, they're going to be bloodbaths, in my opinion. We got a no-holds-barred match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, but we also got a Texas death match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Page. Yeah, I know, it's fucking crazy. I thought it was going to be a buried alive match, but that's not going to be the case. But overall, finally to blow off this feud, it was great to see. Finally, we're going to have something to blow it off, because I feel like, I don't want to say that this feud has been running too long, considering the fact that Christian Cage has been injured. But if there's a time to end this feud, clearly Revolution is definitely the time to finish this feud. But overall, I'm definitely excited. We get a backstage interview with Jamie Hayter. She says, Sunday, Revolution, to be honest, she didn't know what was going to be sweeter, being one bitch, or I should say beating one bitch, or two. And then Britt Baker says, tonight, Saraya, she's going to watch her two former champions duke it out in the ring. She can look, but she can't touch. And after that, she says she will never have that belt. And then Jamie says Saraya can go and pull those shenanigans because they will be there and they will be watching. Of course, Saraya later on tonight is going to be in the corner of Toni Storm in her match against Riho. We got the cold-hearted handsome devil Hook defending his FTW Fuck the World Championship against Matt Hardy from The Firm. Overall thoughts on this match? Really, I'm a big fan of Hook, by the way, and I like Matt Hardy, but could this match really be on Dynamite? I mean, this is more of a match that would happen on Rampage, in my opinion. So really, what was really the importance of this match? I'll tell you the answer. It was nothing. That's just my opinion, by the way. If you don't like it, tough luck. Both lock up. Hook goes for the takedown, but then Hardy goes to the top. Both lock up again, but then Hardy goes after Hook. Hardy then goes for the shoulder tackle. We get a bunch of delete chants by the crowd. Hook then goes for the knee bar, but then Hardy goes to the bottom rope. Onto the outside. Hook then sends Matt Hardy to the outside, but then Ethan Page takes out Hook onto the outside without the referee looking. And then Hardy takes Hook back in the ring. We get repeated elbows by Matt Hardy. After that, he hits a neck breaker, but then Matt takes Hook repeatedly into the corner. Hook then goes for the T-bone, followed by a couple of body shots in the corner by Hook. After that, Hook comes in, but then gets dropped into the corner turnbuckle after that. We get repeated rights by Hardy, but then Hook lands on his feet. He follows up with a lariat after that. Hook then gets sent into the corner, but then Matt Hardy manages to hit the side effect. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. He then tries to go for another one, but then Hook counters. Both men collide with one another, but then Ethan Page takes Hook with the cast without the referee looking. So once again, the cast is coming into play. I thought they used it during the Battle Royal. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I did mention they did use it in the Battle Royal. Now I completely forgot. I don't think they did use it in the Battle Royal. I think I was mistaken for this match. But they did use the cast in this match. After that, basically what happens is they tries to go for another one, but Hook counters. Both men collide into the corner. I already stated that. We get a cover by Matt Hardy and a near fall, but then immediately Hook applies the one and only Red Rum, and Hardy taps out. Hook wins the match, and he will now wrestle. I believe the stipulation was if he won this match, he's going to be wrestling Stokely Hathaway. And then Stokely Hathaway had this like shocked look on his face. It was so funny. But if that is the case, that's going to be very entertaining to watch. But overall thoughts on this match, really, could this match easily been on a Rampage? Yeah, but did it have any right being on a Dynamite? You know, I get putting Hook on Dynamite, but like a match like this, honestly, that match is like built for Rampage in my opinion. So nothing really special in this match. We got the House of Black video package. Basically, Malachi Black cuts a promo and says, the greatest enemy is not the enemy that is made out of flesh and blood. It's composed out of fear. Fear that eats away at the soul that forces loss because before the body ever does. These titles belong to them, but on Sunday, they have already lost. They then drop those titles down, and Julia Hart states at the end of that video package, see you at Revolution. Look, I'm very excited, and I talked about this earlier. You guys know what I'm going to say. Look, I'm very excited for the trios match that's going to be happening at Revolution. But again, I felt like we needed more build towards this match, and at the end of the day, I genuinely believe that the House of Black should get the win. They should get the win, because if they don't get the win, really, what was the whole point of this feud? Because I always envisioned if there was anybody that the Elite were going to drop those trios titles to, it would be the House of Black. And House of Black really does need that rub, in my opinion. We got Toni Storm versus Riho. Overall, pretty good little match. Again, I'm not really the biggest fan so far of Toni Storm and Saraya. Look, I genuinely believe that the whole homegrown versus established feud when it comes to the women's division, it's gonna be great down the line. But as far as I'm concerned now, I'm not really that invested in it, and that has primarily to do with Saraya and Toni Storm. And this is not me hating on Saraya and Toni Storm, because clearly I'm a big fan of both women. But man, I don't know, man. I don't think really this pairing is going anywhere. I feel like there's no direction. I may be totally wrong, but right now, as it looks like, I'm not really feeling it regarding both Saraya and Toni Storm. And to be quite honest with you, a large part of that, I don't even know if it's a large part of that, but the spray paint, man, I can't really take them seriously when they constantly use the spray paint, because not only it looks like they're copying the NWO, but just them doing it alone just makes it so cringe, in my opinion, that I just feel like, y'all really shouldn't do that. I just want them to be like down and dirty, just malicious heels instead of doing that cheesy bullshit. But hopefully this goes somewhere. I really want this storyline to succeed. But from what I see right now, I'm not really that interested in it. But when we head to Revolution, or maybe even after Revolution, I may be totally wrong at the end of the day. Maybe they're leading to something bigger that we all do not know about. And that's what I want to get across right here on this. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, I'm not really feeling it regarding both Toni Storm and Saraya. But Toni Storm goes immediately after Riho. Storm then throws her across the ring multiple times. Storm then slams her down to the mat. We get a couple of stomps by Toni Storm, but then Riho fights back. Then after that, we get a kick by Storm. We get a side headlock by Storm as well. Then we get a shoulder tackle. We get a cover by Toni Storm and a near fall when Riho slides out. After that, we get a drop kick by Riho, but then Storm gets sent into the corner. Riho then sent her into the corner, and then she hits a knee, followed by a suplex. At this point, Saraya is screaming on the outside. Later, she goes for the roll-up by Riho, followed by a double stomp by Riho. We get a cover by Riho and a near fall. She then applies the crossface on Toni Storm. but then Storm gets her foot onto the ropes. We get a shot to the back by Storm on Riho. Riho then goes to the apron, but then Storm goes for a running hip attack, sending Riho to the outside. Saraya then goes for a running knee on Riho without the referee looking. Storm on the outside sends Riho to the ring post. Both then Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter come in. Once we're back from break, we get a kick by Riho into the corner, followed by the head scissors by Riho. Then we get a drop toe hold, and Storm goes into the ropes. She then hits the 619, but then gets caught. She then boots Riho, but then she misses the hip attack attempt, but then Riho goes to the top. She hits the crossbody on Storm, but then Riho takes Storm into the ring. She then hits a diving crossbody. After that, Riho takes Storms into the ring. She goes for the diving foot stomp, followed by a Northern-like suplex. And then Riho goes to the top. We get a chop by Storm, but then Storm goes to the second rope. Storm then takes Riho for the Storm Zero. Looks like she was going to go for the Storm Zero off the top, but then Riho fights back. After that, we get a headbutt by Riho, but then Riho goes for the sunset flip, but then Riho holds on. And then Toni Storm throws her around. After that, she hits a dropkick into the corner, but then she hits a running hip attack in the corner. After that, we get a cover by Toni Storm and a near fall. Storm then goes for the cloverleaf submission, but then Britt Baker is on the apron. Britt then almost gets hit with the right, but she actually retreats just in time. After that, that is actually enough for Riho to actually go for the roll-up and actually pin Toni Storm. So basically, Riho escaped Toni Storm, but then immediately after Riho wins the match and the bell rings, Toni Storm goes after Riho. After that, then she goes on to attack Britt Baker, and then in the ring, Saraya and Jamie Hayter brawl it out. And then Ruby Soho comes in and hits a right on Saraya, and then both hit a right on Jamie Hayter. Both women brawl, and then the referees come in to break them all up, and that is it. Overall thoughts on this. This was a pretty good match. Again, right now, I'm not really feeling it regarding Toni Storm and Saraya. I'm not really seeing the direction that they're going at, but I definitely do think that it's going to be leading to something bigger. Now, I may be wrong, and they may just be doing something random, but again, as of right now, I'm not really that interested regarding Toni Storm and Saraya. I feel like they kind of fallen off a cliff ever since they were first paired together, in my eyes at least. But we'll have to wait and see. Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes, we get a backstage interview, not a backstage interview, but a backstage segment with them. Talks about how they need to send a message to the Mogul affiliates. He personally, he does not have it, and Dustin says, darkness has fallen in the city of San Francisco. And this Friday on Rampage, they are neutrally limitless, and they will remember their name. Naturally limitless. That is a good name for a tag team. We get the Revolution Tag Team Casino Battle Royale. We have tag teams regarding the Blackpool Combat Club. Aussie Open is in this match. Of course, that's Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. We had the Kingdom, Roosh, and Preston Vance. A lot of different tag teams in this match, but what are my thoughts on this Battle Royal? I thought this was a fine match. Some of the spots were really good, but honestly, when it comes to the four-way tag team at Revolution, even though I think it's going to be a good match, I'm not really feeling it, man. I mean, the Guns as champion is very weird to me. I'm not, having the Guns as champions is very weird, but a lot of people definitely see that this match should easily be a one-on-one match at Revolution instead of a four-way, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did do a four-way as well last year at Revolution, so they're kind of like doing the same style of matches for Revolution. But still, I mean, I'm not really that into it. But overall, I thought the Tag Team Battle Royal was all right. Not the best Battle Royal I've seen, but it was pretty fine for what it was. But nothing beats the ladder match. Alex Reynolds and John Silver and Claudio and Wheeler Yuta kick off, of course. Basically, Dark Order and the Blackpool Combat Club are feuding together. The BCC immediately go after Dark Order after last week when they make their entrance. Of course, after last week, after the Jon Moxley and Evil Uno match, basically a brawl broke loose between the Blackpool Combat Club and Dark Order. Roosh and Preston Vance are the next entrants. Claudio and Roosh exchange shots. And then after that, they go for exchanging chops. It was fucking insane. The next entrant are the Lucha Bros. We get a springboard crossbody by Rey Fenix. Penta goes for a series of sling blades. We got a series of double thrust kicks by the Lucha Bros. Ray then tries to eliminate Claudio, and then Ray and Claudio are on the apron. But then Claudio picks up Ray Phoenix first, or up, I should say, and then Claudio goes for the high boot. Claudio then picks Ray Phoenix up, but then he almost eliminates him. We get a high kick by Penta El Cerro. After that, the next entrants are Aussie Open from the United Empire from New Japan Pro Wrestling. After that, Silver picks up Claudio, but then Claudio is on the apron. Yuta then gets taken down to the apron, but then the BCC eliminate Dark Order. Once we're back from commercial break, Top Flight are the next entrants. After that, they try to eliminate Claudio, but then Claudio holds on. Claudio eliminates Daddy Magic. I believe they were entrants during the commercial break. Correct me if I'm wrong. After that, the next entrants are Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Kingdom from Ring of Honor. Both go after Dante Martin. Aussie Open goes for the half and half. After that, Tony Nese and Guevara are on the outside, and they send the Lucha Bros to the barricade. Josh Woods throws Phoenix onto the floor, and both Lucha Bros manage to get eliminated. Roosh then eliminates Penta. Then Phoenix gets eliminated as well. Roosh almost gets eliminated, but he holds onto the rope. But then Preston Vance, his partner, gets eliminated. Roosh then gets eliminated from a dropkick by Darius Martin. After that, Top Flight and Aussie Open exchange shots. They try to eliminate Aussie Open, but then Top Flight later on are on the apron. Dante then tries to go for the nose dive, but then gets pushed to elimination. After that, Darius Martin gets eliminated from the match. And then the next entrants are Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. They then take Angelo Parker, who was hiding under the ring, and then Angelo Parker managed to get eliminated. Butcher and Blade after that are the next entrants. Both Maria's on the apron, but then by accident, the Kingdom accidentally double super kick Maria. And then after that, the Kingdom and Aussie Open get eliminated at the same time. After that, Butcher, Blade, Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and the BCC are left. Dark Order comes in. They face off with the Blackpool Combat Club because they've been feuding for the past couple of weeks. After that, Cassidy eliminates Wheeler Yuta. We get an orange punch by Cassidy on Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio then gets eliminated by Orange Cassidy. Butcher and Blade almost eliminates Danhausen and Cassidy, but then they come back. They then continue to be in control, but then Cassidy goes for the Hurricane Rana. We get a stunner and a lariat combination by Cassidy, but then Cassidy almost gets eliminated. He holds on to the ropes, but then Butcher and Blade go after him. Danhausen eliminates both, and Danhausen and Orange Cassidy get the win. After the match, the Guns and Jarrett and Lethal come in. Then the Acclaimed comes in. They face off with the heels, and then the babyfaces stand tall. Of course, this is leading to the four-way match between the Guns, Jarrett and Lethal, Cassidy and Danhausen, and the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team titles at Revolution. Am I excited for this match? This is one of those matches that I'm not really that excited about. Clearly, I would have much rather had this match be a one-on-one match between both the Acclaimed and the Guns. But we'll see where they will go here. But it's very interesting that the Danhausen and Orange Cassidy won this match. Finally, guys, we got the creme de la creme. I always say that when it comes to either main event matches or main event segments. And this was clearly the creme de la creme of Dynamite. Of course, I'm talking about Bryan Danielson, the one and only American Dragon, of course, ahead from his what is most likely going to be a possible match of the year candidate, that being the 60-minute Iron Man match against the generational talent, the devil himself, the AEW World Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Overall thoughts on this segment, Bryan Danielson, man, is so good on the microphone. You know, he's a very good wrestler, and that's really his main strength, his in-ring ability. But when he gets on the microphone, especially the promo that he cut on MJF, holy shit, man. It makes me even more excited for this match. Renee shows a post from 2014 from MJF as he was dropping out of college, saying that he was about to pursue his dream of becoming a professional wrestler. Danielson says 7 years ago, he was forced to retire. 2 years later, he came back and says that if you fight for your dreams will fight back for you. Immediately, MJF's music plays and he comes out. But then as soon as MJF was about to say something on the microphone, immediately Bryan Danielson cuts him off and tells him to shut up. After that, Danielson goes on a tirade and says For weeks, he's been listening to MJF saying why he hates him. He thinks he deserves his respect. He hates him because the people call him, that being himself, Bryan Danielson, the best wrestler in the world. And as AEW champion, he thinks he deserves that. He hates him because he has a wonderful wife, wonderful kids, and he thinks he deserves that. That is why he hates him. And he thinks that he deserves all of these things, but MJF has done nothing to earn them and has done nothing to fight for them. He has taken every shortcut that he can become AEW World Champion, and he hasn't fought for that. And if there's one thing that he deserves, it's his fiancée leaving him. Holy shit. Danielson really went there. Now, granted, MJF did go personal in the previous promos that they cut, but Jesus Christ, that was a savage line by Bryan Danielson. If there's one thing that MJF deserves, it's his fiancée leaving him. Holy shit. That's good shit right there. MJF gets pissed. He takes off his coat, and Danielson says he's MJF is all about pinning shoulders to the mat and banging rats. Is that what he does? And he says that seems like someone he doesn't want his daughter to marry. Jesus Christ. He took off his jacket, and then he wants to fight, and he's ready to fight anytime because unlike him, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But he, that being Bryan Danielson, had to fight his whole life. He fought poverty. He fought depression. He fought head injuries, shoulder injuries, retirement, the Authority. Yes, he actually name-dropped the Authority. The Authority. He fought for everything. Before he came here, he had a job that would have paid him for the rest of his life, but he left, and he came to AEW because he wanted to fight. And when he talks about fighting for your dreams, do you know what his new dream has been since he's been here? His dream has been to become AEW World Champion. And god damn it, he is willing to fight for it. This Sunday at Revolution, he better be ready to fight with everything he has for 60 full minutes. And if he doesn't, and this is the closing line, ladies and gentlemen, if he doesn't, he is going to get his fucking head kicked in. And that is the closing line of this amazing promo. And we get a bunch of yes chants by the crowd in San Francisco at the Cow Palace. What are my thoughts on this segment? This was fucking brilliant. This was amazing. You know, I don't know what to say, man, but like, Jesus Christ, that promo that Bryan Danielson cut was everything that I wanted it to be. Definitely the best segment for a go-home show for your main event of a major pay-per-view this Sunday. Holy shit. Their 60-minute Iron Man match is going to be a classic. And if there's anything that Bryan Danielson has basically showed you guys is that he can definitely go in any medium regarding in wrestling, either in ring or in the promo. Literally, this guy is pure perfection. I don't want to say he's the total package, but Jesus Christ, Bryan Danielson is the man, in my opinion. But bro, that promo that Bryan Danielson cut made me so excited for the 60-minute Iron Man match that they're going to be having. And I know this doesn't make any sense considering the fact that MJF just won the title this past November at Full Gear. But god damn it, man. If Bryan Danielson won, I honestly wouldn't be mad at all because, you know, I've actually been one of those people that actually have been a fan of Bryan Danielson's AEW run so far. I've been enjoying Bryan Danielson's AEW run. I think his run in AEW has been great, but I really want him to, at some point in his AEW run, I really want him to win the World Championship. I know it makes no sense considering the fact that MJF just won the title back in November, and it's most likely not going to happen. But after that promo, Jesus Christ, man, I really want Bryan Danielson to win. And if there's anything that Iron Man match has basically told everybody, or that promo segment that has told everybody and all the doubters watching Dynamite, bro, all those doubters are going to be absolutely silent after that match because of the fact that match is most likely going to be a match of the year candidate. But yeah, that was my thoughts on this segment. I'm very excited for the 60-minute Iron Man match. I think it's going to be an absolute classic at Revolution. And yeah, that was my Dynamite review from March 1st, 2023. What are my thoughts on this show? Was it the best go-home show for Dynamite? No, not really. It wasn't really the best go-home show for a pay-per-view. Was the build for Revolution great? Not really either. But overall, I think the pay-per-view is going to be delivering 110% in my opinion because, number one, you're paying $50 for the fucking pay-per-view. But not only that, every time when you pay those $50, you're most likely 95% of the time, you are going to get a bang for your buck. No pun intended. But overall, man, was this the best show that AEW has pulled? No, but definitely that promo that Bryan Danielson cut definitely made up for it, and I'm very excited to see what they are going to be doing for Revolution. But yeah, that was my AEW Dynamite review from March 1st, 2023. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the Wrestle Havoc podcast, right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is Flamin' Rick from the Wrestle Havoc podcast, signing out.